A top Trump envoy steps into Gaza. Aid sites still soaked in blood. And the US-backed foundation under fire, accused of turning hunger into a death trap. From praise in Israel to outrage in Gaza. This is VERTEX. And the question now, is America helping or deepening the crisis? Donald Trump's special envoy for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, visited the Gaza food distribution site on August 1st amid United Nations reports of thousands Palestinians killed waiting for aid since late May. While visiting one of the 4 sites in RAFAH and Gaza, humanitarian Steve Witkoff said that he spent 5 hours inside Gaza today, level-setting the facts on the ground, assessing conditions, and meeting with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Witkoff, who posted a photo of himself wearing a protective vest while meeting staff at a distribution center, wrote on X,
I met yesterday with Israeli officials to discuss the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Today, we spent over 5 hours inside Gaza, level setting the facts on the ground, assessing conditions, and meeting with Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and other agencies. The purpose of the visit was to give a clear understanding of the humanitarian situation and help craft a plan to deliver food and medical aid to the people of Gaza.
Witkoff was also accompanied by the US Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. The US Ambassador to Israel praised the controversial US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation as he visited the aid site where hundreds were killed in recent times while seeking aid. In a social media post, he wrote,
This morning I joined Steve Witkoff for a visit to Gaza to learn the truth about Gaza Humanitarian Foundation aid sites. We received briefings from the Israeli Defense Force and spoke to folks on the ground. G delivers more than 1 million meals a day, an incredible feat.
The visit came at the time Human Rights Watch described the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation-run aid sites as death traps that had become the scene of regular bloodbaths. The UN has said almost 900 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces attempting to reach the sites. Earlier on July 31st, Witkoff met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu amid mounting international horror over conditions of starvation in Gaza occurring amid months of Israeli-imposed aid restrictions. A US official told AFP that Witkoff visited Israel as part of a renewed US effort to mediate a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas after negotiations broke down last week and to discuss the situation in Gaza. A day earlier to Witkoff's Gaza visit, US President Trump described the situation in Gaza, where a global hunger monitor has warned famine is unfolding, as terrible. Speaking to reporters, Trump said the United States recently contributed $60 million for food aid and blamed Hamas for diverting money and food resources.
Oh, it's terrible what's occurring there, yeah. It's a terrible thing. People are very hungry. You know, the United States gave $60 million for food, and it's a shame because nobody, I don't see the results of it, and we gave it to people that in theory are watching over it fairly closely. We wanted Israel to watch over it. Part of the problem is Hamas is taking the money and they're taking the food. But we gave $60 million a couple of weeks ago. Nobody said anything about it. Nobody said thank you, but I didn't need the thank you. I just wanted the people to get fed. And we're helping out financially with that situation. It's a terrible situation.
Meanwhile, Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry said on Telegram that the rising death toll said that at least 83 Palestinians, including 53 people seeking aid, have been killed and 554 injured in Israeli attacks across Gaza in the past 24 hours. The total number of aid seekers killed since May 27th, when Israel introduced a new aid distribution mechanism, has reached 1,383, with more than 9,218 injured, the statement said. As Witkoff and the US Ambassador to Israel, Huckabee, visited a Gaza Humanitarian Foundation aid site, The tribes also accused Israel of empowering factions that loot aid sites. Some of the influential tribes in Gaza have asked US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to see what life in the enclave is really like amid Israel's offensive and live among us.
We want the American envoy to come and live among us in these tents where there is no water, no food, and no light. Our children are hungry in the streets.
Human Rights Watch on August 1st accused Israeli forces operating outside US-backed aid centers in war-torn Gaza of routinely opening fire on Palestinian civilians seeking food, as well as using starvation as a weapon of war. Belkis Villa, Associate Crisis and Conflict Director at Human Rights Watch, said,
U.S.-backed Israeli forces and private contractors have put in place a flawed, militarized aid distribution system that has turned aid distributions into regular bloodbaths.
Israel and the United States have backed a private aid operation run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation at 4 sites inside Gaza, protected by US military contractors and the Israeli army. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation launched its operations in late May, sidelining the long-standing UN-led humanitarian system just as Israel was beginning to ease a more than 2-month aid blockade that led to dire shortages of food and other essentials. Since then, witnesses, the Civil Defense Agency, and AFP correspondents inside Gaza have reported frequent incidents in which Israeli troops have opened fire on crowds of desperate Palestinian civilians approaching GHF centers seeking food. At least 859 Palestinians were killed while attempting to obtain aid at GHF sites between the 27th of May and the 31st of July, most by the Israeli military, according to the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. Meanwhile, Finland's President Alexander Stubb said he is ready to approve recognition of a Palestinian state if the government moves forward with such a proposal. Stubb says in a post to X,
A long-term solution is needed, peace based on a 2-state model. The decisions by France, the United Kingdom, and Canada strengthen the trend of recognizing Palestine as part of efforts to revive the peace process. If Finland recognizes Palestine as part of this international group, we promote peace through our own actions. At the same time, it is important that the Arab countries that have not yet recognized Israel do so. The Palestinian Authority has already recognized Israel. Hamas does not represent Palestine.
Finland's president, elected for 6 years, has limited powers but helps coordinate the country's foreign policy in close cooperation with the government. Many countries, including France and Canada, have pledged to recognize a Palestinian state at the 80th UN General Assembly in September.